Okay, great. So our our body is an organic unity of, I don't know, 30, 50, 100 trillion cells. They're all alive, they're all intelligent, they're all sensing each other, and they're all working together to create tissues and organ systems and systems of organ systems so that our entire body can function as an organism, right? And there's a certain neurochemistry that allows the entire body to communicate with itself. So there's certain neurochemistry, certain chemicals that are released in various doses that are relative to the intensity of the experience that is required. So taking a nap sitting under a coconut tree or being chased by a tiger that snuck up on you, you're in two completely different states, and there's a whole series of neurochemistry that's happening to go from both places to then surviving and being relieved, and then later going back and making love to your partner and having, you know, the most mind-blowing orgasm you've had. And all of this is being modulated by your neurochemistry. And psychoactives are natural chemicals or man-made analogs of natural chemicals that function like keys and like triggers for this system, right? So there's two classes of two basic classes of psychoactives. One group is called phenethylamines, and those are molecules like mescaline, MDMA, 2CB, 2CI. There's a whole series. There's a couple hundred of them that have been manufactured and tested. And then the other family are called tryptamines. And tryptamine are, the most famous ones are psilocybin, magic mushrooms, DMT, ayahuasca, LSD fits into the tryptamine family, and then there's a whole series of others, a couple hundred of those, right? So whenever you take any of these, what you're doing is basically lighting up your entire neurophysiology. What's connected to all of your experiences, all of your memories, all of your feelings, all of your sensations, your fears, your desires, your terrors, your shames, your guilt, it's all been modulated and interconnected and by this continuously changing amounts, tiny little amounts of these neurochemistry. So when you take and you ingest, you give your body a boost in a certain class of psychoactive, and that lights up a certain part of your neurophysiology. So with things like phenethylamines, mescaline and MDMA, there are experiences where your mind, your thinking process, your intellect sort of slows down. It gets kind of put on pause a little bit, and then your body relaxes into pleasure and openness. The heart can open, you can feel very sensual, and it's delicious to the body. Unless there's been a trauma that was harsh to the body, in which case the trauma will then want to come out. Right? So these tools can be used to help bring out traumas, or any poison that you encounter is going to naturally want to come out. It's going to want to purge out of your body. Your body is going to want to detox of any toxins that this medicine can light up. And with psychoactives, a lot of the toxins are psychological and emotional toxins. So traumas, fears, scares, shames, guilt, things like that. So that's one class of medicine. The other class of medicine are the tryptamines, which are things like psychoactive mushrooms, LSD, ayahuasca, and those work more on the mind. They psychoactivate and they show you the content of what's happening in the mind. And of course, the body and the mind are one, and mind and body, mind, there's this unity, but we can have content in our mind that is out of alignment with what our body needs to be healthy. So we can use these medicines as tools to help pull out whatever is there. There's going to be a healthy body will naturally want to, let's say, well, you ate bad food, it makes you throw up. You drink too much, it makes you pukey, but you vomit, right? Your body kicks it out, or your bowels release, right? So a lot of these medicines also allow you, or they push you towards a purge. Ayahuasca will make fluids come out of every part of your body as a reaction. It's anchored. When the body throws up, it's anchored to releasing toxins. So a lot of it, the first times, let's say your body is well fed and well taken care of, and is mostly natural and organic, you'll purge out emotional and psychological toxins, and then your body will vomit or have diarrhea. And this is normal. So there's a basic rule of thumb to the use of these medicines, which is if it's in favor of your body, it's going to be pleasurable, and it's something you want to keep. And if it goes against your body, it's going to be painful. And these are things you should need to remove. Now, sometimes a painful thing is buried in our past, so you have to go into it. And when you go into it, the body will then purge it, find a way to purge it. You'll have a comprehension, you'll have an understanding, right? So what these tools are best for is for bringing your awareness of your conscious mind into the layers of your unconscious mind and identifying what is the content of your unconscious mind. Because if the content is natural, organic, holistic, so that you can thrive as a life form on this, on this beautiful planet, like every other life form on this planet except for humans, then you keep that. That feels good. It feels orgasmic. Like when you're going the right way and you're on a medicine, your entire body will shake and shudder in beautiful waves of orgasmic energy. And when you're going in the wrong direction, your body will cringe and tighten and squeeze and squirm, and it's just horrible. So they're good for figuring out which way you want to go in life. And about all this yucky stuff that can be inside, the best way to use these medicines is to be in a nice place with nice people that will allow you to go through your process, or be there to give you a helping hand, to hold your hand, to clean your face with a towel, or hold your hair when you puke or something like that, without even having to talk to you, just holding a respectful, silent, beautiful space for you. That will help that come out, because you'll have to go through it. And that's very cathartic and very releasing, and you'll feel better afterwards. And there is a certain amount of content that is trapped in our unconscious that we pick up throughout our lives, and then there's stuff we inherit. There's a lot of collective unconscious junk that goes back hundreds and thousands of years, because we're basically a collective consciousness. And there's a lot of unconscious junk. We haven't been nice to each other as human beings. There's been 5,000 or more wars in the last 3,000 years, and all of them, crazy enough, in the name of, I don't know, love, God, beauty, spirit, and somehow we end up destroying ourselves. So there's a lot of that's in there that can be found. It's useful to go in there and explore it and dig it out. And then there's all the beauty, the divinity, the archetypes, the mythos, the angels, the mermaids, the goddesses, right? So on one end, there's all the demons and all the monsters and the golems and the yucky parts of what our mind, how our mind, right, interprets the grand diversity of life, all the stories in our head. And then there's all the beautiful stories. And you can explore both, and it's highly recommended to explore them both. Now, there's one thing that I need to share, which for me, I'm treating this as an existential fact. I'm not sharing it with you as an opinion. I'm going to share it as a fact, and you don't need to believe me in any way. But should you experience this, you'll see that what I'm saying is factual. Okay. And if you don't, then please come tell me about it. But the conditions are the following, right? So you ever play with a walkie-talkie with a two-way radio? Yeah. Have you ever noticed that the battery's charged, the antenna's nice and straight, right? It hasn't been broken or dropped. It's on in scan mode. It'll receive from anything that will, send a signal out within its range of frequency that it can receive, right? Right. And then there's a talk button. And isn't it true that the moment you press the talk button, that you can now project, but you can now no longer receive until you take your finger off the talk button? Right? Is that correct? All right. So our nervous system is wired the same way. And we have two modes. We have reception mode and we have projection mode. When we're in reception mode, all 30, 50, 100 trillion of our cells are receiving information through all the different systems. Every single cell is intelligent. From the sperm cell that found the egg that was in your mother, and in mine and all, right? There was an intelligence that guided it to that. There's an awareness. Every single cell has an awareness, and is connected to every other cell. So there's a giant collective intelligence. Now, 10% of that is our nervous system with our brain. And it reaches out and it touches and interconnects with every other tissue and cell in our body, right? Cut yourself anywhere and you bleed, basically. And you feel it. Well, whenever we're having a thought, a feeling, a hope, a desire, a dream, an ambition, a shame, a guilt, a happiness, an unhappiness, any thought, idea, belief, feeling, sensation that we're projecting from our brain, and each one is a talk button on the walkie-talkie. And we are now no longer receiving existential reality with the remaining 90% of our body. Right. So whenever we're having a thought, a feeling, a desire, we're pressing the talk button on our walkie-talkie. And whenever we're, as adults, you have to be adult, you have to be born with sight and with hearing. Okay? You reach puberty, you're a human being that's reached puberty with sight and hearing. And now you have the capacity to be a thinking, feeling body that is awake. It's not sleeping, it's not snoring, it's awake, it's present, it's alert, it's relaxed, heart open, silent mind. You're not projecting a single thought. And whenever that is happening, what you're experiencing is what you, the receiver of information, part of this giant organic universe, whatever you're receiving, that's existential reality for you. That's absolute reality and truth of whatever is happening in the moment to you. And the instant you have a thought or an idea or a feeling or a desire or a fear or anything that has anything to do with your mind coming on, your memories coming on, your desires about your past, your future, whatever, as soon as that's happening, you're in projection mode and you're now no longer receiving reality. And what you're experiencing is a projection of the content of your mind. Yeah? Does that make sense? Now, this is happening your entire life. Now, you take a psychoactive. You take a psychoactive, and it turns up the gain in everything. The colors are brighter, the flavors are more delicious. Put a strawberry in your mouth on a psycho, you turn into a strawberry. It's phenomenal, right? So, you're going to experience projections of your greatest fears, and they're going to be more real than real. And the reason for that is because these neurochemicals are part of how our body interprets what it considers to be real. Right? So our body has sensory input coming from all around the entire body, and it has to determine if something is approaching it is real or not. And if it anchors onto two different sensory stimuli, like sight and sound, the body will feel that it's real. So much so that you're in a movie theater and, you know, the car crash, the zombie jumps out of the back seat, the sound, and you jump out of your seat because your body, for an instant, has a reaction as if it's actually being attacked by the zombie or in the car crash, or, you know, the feeling of vertigo when somebody with a cam on their forehead jumps out of an airplane and starts falling, right? You feel that, it pulls your stomach. So whatever you experience in your mind on a psychoactive is your mental projection, and like 4DX, like same pixel quality. You might believe that it's real. It's a real memory. It's a real projection. It's a real fantasy. It's a real dream. But you're sitting on the floor or laying on the floor or in a bed or whatever you're doing, wherever you're physically at, or you're dancing, right? And whatever's going on in your head is a mind trip. And this is really essentially important for two reasons. First, because when you go into your deepest, darkest hells, it really helps to be able to take a breath, pause your mind. Kind of like, you know, the scariest part of the movie, you put it on pause and you go to the bathroom, you get more popcorn, and then you come back, you cuddle next to somebody that, you know, and then you put it back onto the aliens, the monsters, the whatever is happening next, right? So you can do that. Because you have to fully go into it. You got to fully associate and identify to whatever is in there. And we all have our deepest, darkest fears. We all have them. whatever they are. We all have our worst nightmares. We all have our hatreds, our angers, our lusts, our guilts, our shame. And it's tremendously enriching. It's tremendously empowering to go in there and relive them with full awareness and full acceptance. There's so much information in there. There's so much valuable information about how to be healthy and happy and how to be vibrant and how to thrive and how to have the most amazing life. There's something to be said about setting up a way of living, a lifestyle that allows you to do journeys for as long as it takes till you're finished. So for me, I discovered this when I was 30. I was just finishing up my PhD in biochemistry and molecular biology from University of California in Santa Barbara. And I discovered psychoactives. And I just jumped in and I did them on a monthly basis. There's some that you should only do a couple of times a year. There's others you should do 3 or 4 times a year. There's others that you can do once a month at most. And there's others you can do once a week. And knowing how to use them is really, really valuable. It's kind of like, knowing how to sail gives you a freedom. You can jump on a boat and go around the entire world, right? It gives you a certain sense of autonomy. So there's groups of people that have been working at this, figuring this out. We call ourselves psychonauts. And what we do is we study how to use these medicines. So there's a certain amount of literature that I would invite you to read so that you can inform yourself about what's understood. I can send you links to amazing books that are out there about all these different medicines, especially ayahuasca. I would highly recommend reading them. And then I would highly can I ask you a question? Are you aware of moments when you're just sitting or wherever you are, you're just relaxed, your body's relaxed, your emotions are still, your mind is quiet, and you're present, and you're aware of the fact that you're present from an even if it's an instantaneous moment of no mind? Is that something that occurs to you on a regular basis or every once in a while? Right. So can I describe the process? Because this is well known. Right? So you had a cathartic release. That's why you squirmed and fought and screamed and bit the couch and killed it and made love to it and just rah, right? Like you just, and energy purged through. And there's back in the 80s in the U.S. A law passed where they had to put electronic governors on cars, and they could only go up to 84 miles per hour. On that's the highest a car could drive, even though the speed limit was 55. And this was put on all cars. So these governors were connected to cars like Ferraris, right? And Ferrari drivers started having problems because of their valves would gunk up because they're high performance cars, and you can't drive them at only 55 miles an hour and maximum 84 miles an hour, and you can't rev them up. So the mechanics discovered a way out of it. They call it the Italian tune-up. They would tell the person, just go drive it on the freeway in first gear and second gear. Just redline it for a few minutes every once in a while, and that clears the gunk out. So an experience where you're just totally into it, dancing, writhing, wrestling, fighting, pushing, safely of course, right, on a nice couch or with nice pillows, you're beating up pillows, biting towels, screaming, very, very cathartic. That'll clear out so much junk from your entire neurology that you'll have everything will look more alive. The colors will be brighter, the flavors, the sounds, there's more beauty everywhere. It's like everyone turned the gain up. It's like you took a selfie and then you played with the settings to make it look warm and vivid, right? Everything's a little more warm and more vivid. But then here's what happens. Our minds are unconsciously creating the gunk. So then the mind gunks it up and it dims back down again. And it goes back to your normal because we don't realize that we're gunking ourselves up. So using these tools in combination with meditation, but meditation not where you're chanting a mantra, because that's hypnosis. Meditation where you're actually witnessing moments between your thoughts or your feelings or your ideas. There's a little gap. There's a little space between the trains of thoughts and ideas, right? So maybe because you love to dance or you skateboard or rollerblade or mountain bike or rock climb or bungee jump or do something very aerobatic, very like it's do or die, or you're not messing around. It's your whole body, and you're just doing something that you'd rather not land on your neck crooked. Then your mind will be off during that too. These will be active and dynamic meditations. So when it comes to using these tools, I'm always going to recommend to everyone to first learn how to consciously stop and reboot your mind. Figure out what works for you. And second, find all the active things that you do that you love so much. You're drawing, you're painting, with the guitar, with keyboards, I've experimented with, I can get lost in anything. Anything. Give me a guitar, I just get lost in it. Keyboards, rollerblades, a bicycle, a car, sailing, making love, like whatever. Painting, drawing, food, eating, swimming, right? So find all the ways, if you're a dynamic, go out there, take massive action kind of guy that I think you are, go out there and notice what happens to your mind, to your sense of self, at the moment when everything is yummiest, when you're at your peak experience. And you may notice that in that moment your mind is just paused. So master doing that first without any psychoactives. Then do it with a double espresso and a chocolate brownie, right? Then do it with, I don't know, if you're in a place where it's legal, with a little ganja, smoke a joint. Then try with mushrooms. Start with lower doses. Just get yourself familiar. If you don't have a coach or a guide, you have to do it for yourself. And the only reference point is you have to be able to consciously pull yourself out of the identification with the content of your mind back into being centered. So, and I have a course that for free on Thinkific. I'll send you the link. It's a 1-hour course, and it gives you 3 breathing exercises that you're going to want to do them. You want to master these, and because you're going to want to do these on your medicine journeys. This is how you power through things, right? And everything that I'm saying and how it applies to all the dark material, all the scary things, all the monsters that are in there, it's even more important with all the gods and goddesses and the mythical creatures and the flying rainbow unicorns and the Pachamama, the goddess, everything that's up there, that's in there that you can find. Those are also mental projections, and people get lost. And they believe that they're real, because you're going to talk to other people. They're going to say, yeah, I was there too. I felt that. I had the same type of experience with the snake, with the puma, with the tiger, with the goddess, with the tantrika, right? So the important thing is, wherever you are, in your deepest, darkest, or in your highest, most amazing, right? Just remember that it could be a dream. Because imagine this. You are dreaming that you're flying and making love to the most gorgeous angels ever. Or you're in a nightmare and you're being ripped apart and eaten by the worst demons ever, and you wake up. Isn't it true that in both cases your body is panting, breathing, heart pumping, hot, sweaty, and in one case you want to go back, and in the other case you do not want to go back? Right? Okay, so think of that amplified for 6, 8, 10, 12 hours with psychoactive medicine. You'll believe that it's real. So you need to be able to pause, breathe, pull yourself out of your mind, right? Stop, go take a pee break, go drink some water, drink some orange juice, have some fresh fruit around, right? Things that'll pull away, something with nice flavors, right? Smells, flowers, create a beautiful, rich environment for yourself. Right? Does that make sense? And then you can go in and you can safely explore just about anything. As long as for medicines like ayahuasca, of course, you're not on any drugs or medications that are contraindicated, because then you can die. And then that's messy for whoever. There's a whole list of medications. What happens with ayahuasca is that the DMT, if you eat DMT, it doesn't go, it gets destroyed by certain liver enzymes called monoamine oxidases, and our body has monoamine oxidases, and ayahuasca is a mixture of at least two different plants, and one of them has a chemical called harmaline, and these are MAOI, monoamine oxidase inhibitors. So they turn off your ability to break apart ayahuasca and any other monoamine. And monoamines are toxic, a lot of times very poisonous. So you can have a heart condition, you can die from it, you can have a very violent purging experience because of it. So there's certain foods you're not supposed to eat, and certain medications and certain drugs that you should definitely not do. Some of them starting at least 30 days before. So I would do a little research. I can send you some information. When we guide people and we do retreats, we do retreats in Peru. We guide people on journeys to figure themselves out, and we have a 1-year program to teach people how to do that. So it's a 1-year program where we give you a series of experiences, devices, books, readings, conversations. We follow up with masterminds and prepare people to either go out and do medicine by themselves, or if they want to come do medicine with us. And we do it under certain conditions and certain standards, and what we cater to are for higher performance people, more like peak performance. You're more like a Ferrari, more like a Bugatti, and less like a tuk-tuk or a Ford Escort. Because everyone's different. Some people are very simple and happy with very simple, and they can just they don't have a lot of complexity in their mind. They don't channel a lot of money and currency, which makes their lives much more simple. And then other people are used to higher standards. So we offer higher end experiences that help the person figure out where they are and clear stuff out. Because the biggest danger, I would say, if you don't have any physiological conditions, is that it's really easy to fall in love with your psychoactivated fantasies and dreams, and to believe that you found a master key or a back door to some parallel dimension of reality. And I'll tell you, I personally know thousands of people who believe that to this day, and they're lost in it. They're nice people, but they're just chasing rainbows. And 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years later, they look at, unfortunately, there's a certain wear and tear on the body. So my only precaution, my biggest precaution, apart from any health hazards for whatever you're doing, is that learn to, according to you be your own reference point for what's actual existential reality. And for that, the experience of being able to be present with your state of no mind from a meditative state, because you did a dynamic breathing exercise, or you danced, or you have some sort of athletic or creative outlet that you do at 100%. Those are authentic moments. And being able to master that allows you to use these tools, and you can clear yourself quite a bit. Now, the average person, when they learn how to use these tools, it takes them several years to clear out all the content of what they'll find. There's a significant amount of content. There's literally, you can have 1 million unconscious thoughts that need to be untangled, unwound, untriggered, and they fall into certain territories about your body, about your emotions, about love, about sex, about family, about mind and psychology and madness, and about anger, about hatred, about shame, about guilt, about mom and dad, of course, and siblings and lovers, and about death, about God, about spirit. There's all these questions, unanswered and a lot of times contradicting beliefs and questions that our mind will collect. That's our collective unconscious, and it's on all the time, which is why it's really hard to find a moment when your mind just is present and off. So you can use this. You can use these tools along with all the other tools that you've learned. If you've learned any tools, if you've done any, you're a plat, right? Are you a plat? Oh, okay, yeah, all right. So fantastic. So you're going to start your plat. There are a lot of plats that are doing this medicine, and the only precaution that I have for them and for everyone, but especially a plat level mind, because the plat level mind is a highly empowered mind. You just create an image and you fix on it, and then you focus and you take massive action and you make it happen. Is that it's really easy to get lost because it's always an image. It's an image of reality. It's the map, it's not the territory. And people get lost living in their maps. The maps are so beautiful that they get lost in the map and then they miss reality. And this is one of the dangers if you're a highly empowered. And then the other thing is that the best use for these medicines is to go in and to dig out trapped material. So there's some things that happen at events like UPW where it's like the Dickens process, where people use their imagination to go along a timeline back to some trauma of their past and then just dig it up and throw it into the sun and then cover it with some message from higher up. And it's still a mind trick. All you're doing is pushing some poison or some thorn or some toxin deeper in. And that splinter needs to come out. It doesn't need to be pushed in. But all the exercises, all the experiences you'll have, the amazing experiences you'll have as a plat, learning how to step up and take massive action, are essential. Absolutely essential. The only thing to always remember is that anything you do taking action and using willpower and using your mind, now learn how to do it without using your mind. It's like having another wing. It changes everything. It's additive. So I'm not saying don't do anything. I'm saying do everything that you learn from everyone, but also learn how to get there without having to think about it. Right? Does that make sense? From a state of no mind. Well, they're both relatively safe. It's just that ayahuasca is something that takes you in pretty deep. You want to have a guide, an experienced guide the first time. And if you're a plat level mind because you're already considering it, that gives you a certain level. So think of it this way, right? So imagine someone who has knows how to ride a bicycle, right? But they've never ridden a motorbike. So you put them on a little moped, or you put them on a Kawasaki, a Yamaha Z2000, a Ducati, right? You put them on a Ducati that goes 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds, and the high performance motorbike person will get hurt because they have to learn how to function at full intensity. Pedal to the metal in a Ford Escort is not the same as a pedal to the metal in a Ferrari. You'll spin out and hit the other side of the road in one, and the other one you'll just kind of putt out, right? So these medicines for people that are peak performers, it's easy. It's easier to get lost, but because you get lost in the beautiful. So that's my only warning, and that's why I've created this program, and I offer it for free, the free Stop and Reboot Your Mind program, and then we're just about to launch this year-long mastermind program, teaching people how to use medicines, how to prepare themselves for medicine, because if you do it right, a single journey can clear out a decade of sitting in a temple meditating in one night. In 10 hours, you can clear out 10 years of junk, if you know what you're looking for. So there's something to be said about informing yourself, preparing yourself. Like, what's the rush, right? It's like that story of, you've got however many hours to cut down a tree, right? How many hours are you going to sharpen your axe, right? You sharpen your axe, and then you just cut that tree down in a few chops. So if you can prepare yourself, you can then make the most of your experience. Or you just go have a recreational experience and you see what comes up for you. We do retreats in Peru, yeah. We were supposed to be in Peru setting up our pilot program for the retreats in April, and we got blocked by the coronavirus thing. So I've got a team. There's a group of us that have all mastered using these tools, all from a state of being present. And with my team, we have it set up so that we're setting up programs that are going to be year-round or bi-monthly, and it just depends on the price range of where people are comfortable at. Because what we use it to help people clear their minds of old content, and then you're this amazing thinking, feeling, psychoactive biocomputer. you can have a million thoughts at once. Why don't you put like really good quality thought processes in from the highest, the peak performers, right? Take all the best apps from Tony and everyone who's out there, and use the medicines to install them at whatever amount of money you want to enjoy. What's that? The way we do the retreats, yeah, they're plant medicine. Well, we have non-medicine retreats, and we have medicine retreats. So for people that want to do with medicine and without, and the first part of the retreat is without medicine, because you have to reach a certain, like we're like a Top Gun flight academy. You have to have a certain level. You have to have a certain performance level to participate in our retreats. So you have to have a certain level of physical fitness. You can't be addicted to cigarettes. You have to have a certain mastery over your life. You got to be fit, and you have to have read certain books and done certain exercises and answered certain questions and written out a few journals. There's a minimal 3-month preparation time, online preparation time before any possibility of medicine work with us, and then we have a 1-year follow-up program, right? So it's a 1-year program because we. See, when Aboriginals discovered ayahuasca 5,000 years ago, it was the perfect tool for the complexity of their minds back then. But the complexity of a mind today is of a much higher order magnitude than before. It's like, you have an iPhone 10 or 11 and you have a problem with it. Do you go to an iPhone 1 specialist? Right? You don't. Right. So there's a lot to be said about knowing how to use these tools, because we're different minds, and these are psychoactives. So it's great for someone, an indigenous native to the Amazon jungle, to have a journey where for them what they need to connect with the Pachamama, get past the serpent and the panther so that they can go to the land of no evil. And this is makes perfect sense, because something's out of alignment, and that's why they're not happy and well. But for a modern person that's here to thrive and make the world a better place, it's a beautiful experience to go do that. I highly recommend it, but there's also something to be said about going to the right place to do it the right way for your mind, to make the most out of it. Because what matters the most is, what are you going to do next? Like, what can you use this for? So you can use it to just hang out and just, hang out with the angels. That's great. I mean, you can chase angels your whole life. I know people that do. They're happy that way, so good for them. But they live hand to mouth, right? Or off a trust fund. So if you want to go out there, and if you have dreams, if you're an artist and you wanted to create something, you have the potential to clear out so much junk from our minds and then fill it up with the richest, highest quality apps to be able to channel the most amount of money to have the most creative, most beautiful life. And anything that you're doing that's in alignment with life and diversity and nature is supported. Your body will support it, and the medicines will help you anchor it in. You ground it in. There's a system for dealing with high energy currency, for example. Right, like people who make money. Here's another little side warning. If you or anyone you know is making money doing anything to hurt the planet, poisoning people, taking advantage of people, you're gonna suffer. Like, that medicine will pull out your demons, and well done, well deserved, because it's not acceptable. So there's a certain way of preparing yourself so that you're in alignment with life, in alignment with love, in alignment with beauty, with creativity, with nature, with diversity, with dance, with science, right? With all the best things that we humans can do. So many amazing things. You can use these tools to anchor in a capacity for creative richness that is just unprecedented. It allows to increase the quality of your life. So that's the higher potential of what can be done with this medicine. Much more interesting than just spending the rest of your life chasing dreams, which are beautiful, but they're dreams. Then there's a reality life that you can have that just keeps getting richer, because you're at your full capacity, right? To be creative, to be, yeah. So the tools can be used for that as well. So that's part of this, motivational speech, so to speak, is that you can use it. There's many ways to use it, and not many people are aware of this. Not many people are aware that you can use these tools this way. So anyone who asks me, if you're, I'll keep talking. There's something to be said about preparing yourself. Sure. Look, imagine you're going to launch a rocket, right? You want to launch it as high up into space as possible. Are you going to do it from the valley, or are you going to climb the mountain? Climb to the top of the mountain, get as far as you can get without any medicines, and then use the medicines to really, it launches you, it takes it to another level. Otherwise, you end up being dependent on, oh, I'm kind of low, boring. Oh, every time I trip, it's so beautiful. I'm going to go and I meet the angels, and that's how people get lost. So I teach people, get yourself in shape, and then let's go into your deepest, darkest hell first and clear it out. And if you're afraid of, yeah, right, does that make sense? When you clear out all your deepest, darkest, and you know that it's clear, it's really easy to go up to your highest peak with the most yummiest experiences, and you can let them go because you're not falling anywhere. You stay at your peak experience, but you got to let it go. So where you let go, it's like just another thing. You're going to have moments of such intense oneness and clarity. They're called mini satoris. And mini satoris are like a taste of being enlightened. It's what being enlightened tastes like. And these mini satoris are so rich, they're so powerful, they feel so good that the danger is you're going to want to have them again and again and again. And there's two options. One is you do the work to clear out all the junk and all that prevents you from being there effortlessly, naturally. I recommend that route. The other route is to now use your highly intelligent, highly powered, amplified, take massive action, make your move mind, and follow a mental projection of it. And 10, 20, 30, 40 years later, your body's falling apart, your mind's falling apart, you're alone. And I've seen this happen to people. That's the danger of it. So there's something to be said about preparing yourself really, really well. Take time. You have found the entry, right? You found the hole from the white rabbit, right? You've been given a taste of what it feels like to come out of your matrix. And I congratulate you on that, and I commend you on that. As somebody who has been doing this for 25 years, has guided over 400 people, and has done over 1,000 journeys himself, I would recommend that you're okay. Great. Now process. For real, process. Your coach is absolutely correct. Process this, and get as many other opinions as possible. But read some books. I'll send you a reading list, and if you're interested, join our mastermind. It's $1,000, and it's fully refundable if you don't like it. At the end, you can have a full refund if you're not happy with it. It just helps us run the operating costs, and it'll be starting soon. And we'll share with you 5 of us that have gone through our deepest, darkest hells and have come out the other way, present, alert, thriving, living life, creating, finding love, raising children. We'll openly share with you all the places where you can get stuck. That's the really important thing. We won't share anything about what it's like to find your own heaven. That's not the problem. What's interesting is, where do you get stuck? Where do people get lost? Because it took us years and years and years. And you can learn how to, in 3 months, you can know what to do so you can do your own journey all by yourself somewhere. You don't even have to come do a journey with us. Because whatever you find, you can share with us, and we'll be able to. It's all the same territory. It's the collective unconsciousness of man, and we all have the demons, the stories, the hopes, the myths, the dreams, the anxieties, the fears, the guilts, the shames, the crucifixions, right? The torture, the lust. We all have that. It's part of being human. There's nothing special about it, right? Does that make sense? It's like if we're all sharing a multi-surface topping, multi-topping pizza, and my slice has a little more pepperoni and mushrooms, and yours has, a little more peppers and something else. It's the same. It's the same crust. It's the same sauce. It's the same cheese. You just have a slight distribution. So 90% of the content of what's there, everybody else has it. It's already known, and with proper guidance and instruction, you can get through it really easily. I'm glad that it took me 13 years and about 900 journeys to find my way through. I loved every moment of it. I would not change that for anything in the world. But it took my wife, my best friend and soulmate Jantra, it took her 18 months to go further than it took me 18 years. Right? So, sure, because, well, if you've already been somewhere, like, you know, what if you're in a city, let's say I've never been in a city where you grew up, you can give me a much faster guided tour than I can do for myself, figuring it out, right? If I arrive in a place where I've never been, I don't know the language, I don't know the people, the culture, and I'm there for a few hours, I'm just there for, 24 hours. If I'm with an expert who knows his way around, I can get to see some really cool stuff and have some good meals and get some nice selfies, and right. Or if I just show up and I, walk out of the airport, I don't know where to go. Or I got to read a book, and then, how am I going to get from here to there? So it's a territory. That's the thing to understand. It's a vast territory full of all the imagery of the collective unconscious. All the horrors are there. Everything from the Holocaust, from the wars, it's all there. And then all the godliness, all the divinity, all the beauty, all the ecstasy is there too. It's amazing. But it's all the mental projection. It's the territory of mind. And then you see it for what it is, and you accept it, and now it folds up. And now your entire mind is clear. You have full bandwidth. Now you can engage in reality and have a life that's richer and yummier than any dream or fantasy. Dreams and fantasies are very low quality experiences compared to what reality has to offer for someone who has cleared their mind. And these are tools for clearing the mind. That's, for me, the best and most important use of these tools are for clearing the mind. And my understanding from what you said to me is that you had a clearing experience because it just, it just went through your body. Like, you got your Italian tuna. 8 hours later, wow, something's changed. And then you get gunked up again. So, yeah. So there's well-known reasons why you get gunked up again. For the same reasons we all do. It comes in through the media, it's through our beliefs, it's through our stories, through how we repress our emotions. Right? There's experiences, medicine experiences, where it really, there's a book called Emotional Wellness by an Indian mystic named Osho. I don't know if you've ever heard of Osho. And have you read any of his works? Have you read any books or any of his lectures? They're very clear maps. Yeah, they're very, very clear maps of the human condition. There's a book called Emotional Wellness. We don't work with anyone who doesn't go through the book and do all the exercises because there's no point. There's going to be repressed angers and fears and guilts and shames. And it's like, okay, you've been playing in the mud and you want to come in the house and there's a garden hose there. Just use the garden hose and wash your dirty feet off and then come into the house. It's that simple to reach emotional wellness. And people don't consider it. So then they jump in, and now there's all this emotional baggage and toxicity that colors and taints the quality of your experience. It's much more sensitive. It's much more delicate. It's more sensual when you take all the mud off, and then you use it as an exfoliant, right? And now your skin's all soft, and you're more sensitive. You use mud to scratch your skin off. So you clear the mud off of all the repressed angers and guilts and shames and fears and sadnesses that our societies have somehow we've convinced ourselves that, our naturally evolved, God-given, doesn't matter what you believe, emotions are bad. So we repress them. And then that poisons us. They turn to poisons within us. And they distort the way we experience reality. And then we do all this work, like you'll learn as a Platin through Tony how to achieve a beautiful state, and that's great. But if you're not living naturally in a beautiful state, it's because you're unconsciously taking yourself out of a beautiful state first, and then pushing on that to create a beautiful state. It's doable, but it's not sustainable, and it backfires when you do medicines. So there's a certain amount of work to clear out trapped emotions and get your body healthy. Like you're going on the most important expedition of your life. You're going to climb Mount Everest. You're going to be the first and only person to climb your mountain, to conquer yourself. And you're, fat, overweight, drunk, eating chips, jerking off, downloading porn, gambling. How are you going to make it? Like that's like the wrong way to do it, right? The other option is that you're in shape, you're taking care of yourself, you've developed a yoga practice. You need a yoga practice. You need to be able to anchor these states, standing up, sitting down, full dynamic range of motion. It will make such a difference. If you have a meditation practice, you have a yoga practice, you have a creative expression, you're emotionally well and balanced because you've cleared out 90% of the junk that you've been carrying since your parents and grandparents and the wars and this and that. Right? We all have them, right? Like, so you clear all that out, and then you go do your ayahuasca journey. It's a different experience, sir. The mastermind, we have different sections, and we offer them on a monthly basis, different sections, a couple times a week. So you need to read a book, and when you finish it, you contact us. And then you join it. And then there's another book, and there's another mastermind. Like the emotional wellness, there's a mastermind for that, right? There's a series of, there's a certain commitment to it, but we let you go at your pace. Okay, listen, I'll let you go, and I'll send you the information. And do the course. Do the course for free, the Stop and Reboot Your Mind course. And we'll talk afterwards. Well, I'll give you the list of everything, and you can just do it yourself. Yeah, and if you want to connect with us, then you reach out and connect with us. It's not a problem. Okay? All right. Cheers. Thank you. My pleasure. You're very welcome. Well, if someone is in a crisis and you need to stabilize them, sure, use it. But if you're not in a crisis, better to go into and take your poison out than to cover it up and pretend that you've destroyed it somehow, because it's still a mental image and it hasn't left your unconscious. You have to become conscious. Certain supplements, yes. I'll send you a list of no-nos, of things not to do. I've got it all written out. I'll send you that list, and you go through it, and then whenever you want our feedback, you let us know. Okay, sure, my pleasure. Thank you. My pleasure. You're very welcome. Sure. Yeah, I had my awakening experience here, and it was with use of many tools and medicines and lots of journeys, and I had such a rich awakening experience here, and then within a few months I found Jantra. We've been together for 11 years. From the day we met, we've been together, and then she was able to. She's Thai, she's Thai, and then 5 years ago we adopted. The 5-year-old daughter of her younger sister, who was a mess, and the girl was abused and just suffering with these people. And Jantra was just, her heart went out to her, and both our hearts went out to her. And we adopted her, and now she's turning 10, and she's just the most precious addition to our lives. And so we run a little off-grid eco-luxury retreat center so that we can give people direct experiences of being present in nature, sustainably, with unlimited resource to money, like Platt style living, like having a high quality, rich, creative entrepreneur life, functioning intuitively, and it's all available. We can all do it. So we just share with people who are interested, and we have programs for people at all price ranges, just according to people's budgets. Everyone's different, so it's all good. It's all fun. But we're definitely expanding. We're gonna grow. What we did here was very successful at a very small scale. It was sort of a pilot project, and now we're going to take that plus what we can do with social media and the internet today. We can reach so many people. So I'm creating a full functioning university of what we do in Peru, in the Sacred Valley, guiding modern people. Using everything that's out there, yoga and meditation and tantra and dance and art and science and of course shamanism and medicines, in conjunction with NLP and hypnotherapy and what's understood about how the mind works and how the body and how our genes express and our nutrition. And just it's time we've gathered information from all around the world. We have a team of really exceptional masters that have in their areas, in their fields, and we're having fun. We're creating programs for people, and happy to openly share everything we can. So I like to see what I say. I can transcribe it and then make it available to people that want to learn how to use these tools. I'm creating a sort of a wiki an Wikipedia of how to use these tools to awaken yourself and clear yourself. And so everything that comes out. So anyway, you got to go. And thank you so much. Very fun. Take care. Sure. My pleasure.